Hello everybody and welcome back to Gaming on Caffeine. My name is Isaac and we are back for episode 18 of my modded survival island. Last episode we were working on getting started with Botania, and since the end of last episode I've really been doing more of the same as we did last episode. I made some more day blooms, I made some nightshades, which are essentially day blooms that work at night. I generated some more flowers, I got myself quite a bit of mana into here, as well as making a lot more living wood and living rock. And the only thing that I did that really doesn't have anything to do with Botania is upgrade our storage over here so that we now have 5 more caches for iron, copper, tin, silver, and lead, because this chest here was full to the brim. I also went ahead and added 2 more iron chests, which are both set to be default routes, because this one and this one are both full to the brim now, so we're actually running out of space for default just junk to go. And so I made a few upgrades, and we should be good for our logistics pipe system to kind of stay as it is for a little while now. But in terms of Botania, also, almost forgot there, I also made this flower pouch here, which was suggested by somebody in the comment section of the last episode, and this thing is fantastic. Basically what it does is it lets you store all of the Botania flowers. If I right click on it, you can see all of the Botania flowers that we currently have in our inventory, and the really cool thing is that it picks them up as soon as you pick them up, if that makes any sense. So if I was to open this up and kind of pull out all of my red flowers and throw them on the floor, as I pick them up, they should go straight on. If I don't have any in my inventory, as I pick them up, they will go straight into the pouch. Look at that. It's cool, right? So, well, the last 2 didn't for whatever reason. Yeah, it may be a bit iffy, but for the most part it works. I've been using it quite a bit, and it's just nice to have all of the flowers in this kind of one inventory slot, as opposed to just clogging up the entirety of my inventory. So this is a really cool little neat thing to make. It's really cheap, it's just some wool and any kind of mystical petal, but that is not the focus of today. Today, what I want to do is I want to work on setting up a system that is going to allow us to turn the leaves that we are generating from our tree farm into some pretty cool stuff, and we're going to do that via the flower that is called the Munchdew. So the Munchdew over here is a flower that consumes leaves and produces mana. Now, it's pretty expensive to make. So to make this thing, we need a few of these mystical petals, as well as some mana-infused mystical petals, which we'll get into in a little while, as well as this rune of gluttony, which is kind of the hardest bit of this recipe and what's going to take up most of today's episode, because this thing is made in a runic altar with 2 mana diamonds, a rune of fire, and a rune of winter. The rune of fire is not too hard to make, but the rune of winter, this guy over here, requires some snow, some wool, a cake, a rune of water, and a rune of earth, both of which require some water stuff and some mushrooms, as well as as well as colored stone or normal stone, and a block of coal. So, the Munchdew is pretty expensive, but what you may have noticed is that most of the recipes involve the runic altar. So the first thing we're going to make today is the runic altar. If I go ahead and type in runic altar into NEI, you can see it up here. It's made fairly easily using some living rock and then either a mana pearl or a mana diamond, which, as you may have guessed, are just ender pearls or diamonds infused with mana. And you get these by dropping either an ender pearl or a diamond into a pool of mana. However, we cannot do it with the current mana pool that we have. You'll see in the middle there, it's like a green tick with a line through it, kind of creating an X. And basically, what this means is that there is enough mana in this mana pool to create a mana diamond. However, this is not a good enough mana pool to create a mana diamond. We need the real mana pool, not the diluted mana pool. So to get that, all we need to do is make another diluted mana pool and throw it into this mana pool. You'll see it's like a nice little tick. Throw it in, we get a normal mana pool, and then to move all of the mana from this diluted mana pool, because we don't really need this anymore, into our normal mana pool, all we need to do is quickly throw that nightshade back down, put our mana spreader right there, and now it's going to go through and probably very quickly send all of the mana from this diluted mana pool over and into the normal mana pool, which is where the majority of our mana is going to sit for the remainder of the series. I would like to move all of this stuff over onto my new Botania island, which, by the way, is this one over here. You probably guessed that from earlier. This is where I'm going to be storing all of my Botania stuff. For now, I'll probably upgrade it to connect to my logistics pipe system and all that cool stuff in the future, but for now, it's just like a little chest and some space, all lit up with this very nice little night off from Thormcraft as well, which is pretty cool. So, basically, let's have a look. Do we have what it takes? We do not. So we have to wait for more of this to get sent out. It's slowly going through on the mana spreader there. Do we have enough? We don't have enough. That's a bit of a pain. But what we can do is we can put you back over there. And then if we switch to bind mode, we should be able to bind you to you. Yeah, so now all the mana generated by these flowers is going to get sent from here over to here. So we can't quite make the runic altar yet. I don't think... Oh, the mana pearl looks like it might require a bit less mana, but I don't think we have any ender pearls lying around, so I don't really think that's an option for us. But what we can do is we can start making some of the other stuff that the Munchdew requires. So to make this, we need some of these here, these mana petals. And the way these are made is, again, simply like with the mana diamond and the mana ender pearl, it's just the normal petal thrown into a mana pool. So for instance, if we get ourselves a white, a red, and a lime petal, so red, lime, and white, and we turn all those into actual pretzels, like so, we can then throw one of these. I think we only need one of each, right? We can then throw, one of each of these into the mana pool, like so. This requires very little mana, so it's nowhere near as much as the mana diamond. 1, 2, and 3, and that gets us all of the mana petals that we need in order to make the Munchdew. We then also need another lime petal, a normal green petal, another red petal, and a white petal. So the last thing really is just the green petal, which we can get fairly easily, and that's all the petals covered. So like I said, most of this recipe not too hard. The rune of gluttony is a different story. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go away. I'm going to wait until we can get enough mana into this thing to make a mana diamond so we can make the runic altar, and I'll be back in a second. And a little while later, we now have just enough mana to make ourselves a mana diamond. So if we do something like this, we now have a tiny minuscule amount of mana left in this mana pool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this thing up. I'm also going to go ahead and pick up all of the rest of this stuff, and I'm going to begin moving everything over to the new island. I'm probably not going to use this diluted mana pool again, so for now we will just dump you in there. But we are going to use this pure daisy again for sure, because living rock and living wood are kind of used throughout Botania. Even in some of the really high-end stuff, you still require living rock and living wood. And what we might do a little further down the line is actually automate the production of that using Steve's Factory Manager, which would be pretty cool. But for now, let's grab our day blooms and our nightshades, as well as our mana spreader and our mana pool. And let's do something like this. So we want you there, there, and then there. We'll put the nightshades again kind of in between like so. And then again, mana pool and mana spreader. Boom. Actually, I think we could leave it like that, but just for aesthetics' sake, I'm going to move it over like there. And what we need to do now is make ourselves the runic altar. So as I showed you a second ago, really easy to do. All we need is some living rock. Not like that, but like so, with a mana diamond, and then we press C, and we get ourselves this guy here, the runic altar. You don't have to craft it on the floor, by the way, that's just because there wasn't a crafting station nearby. But basically what this does is it allows you to infuse certain items together to make other items in Botania, most notably runes. Runes are made using the runic altar, and as you can see here, we can use all these things to make the gluttony rune, the fire rune, etc., etc. So, let's throw this down for now, kind of over here, because it does use mana, so we do have to point the mana spreader at this when we want to make stuff. For instance, if we look at the rune of fire, to make this, we need some mana steel, some nether wart, which we don't quite have yet. Is the one we can make? We should be able to make this one. So this one is made using 3 mana steel ingots, 1 fishing rod, 1 sugarcane, and 1 bone meal. Sugarcane, real easy to get. We have it just lying over here waiting for us to use it. Bone meal I have in my inventory. Actually, I only have 1 left, but we do have some more bones, so that is fine. And then a fishing rod is also fairly easy to get. And we actually have the string ready in our inventory as well, which is very nice. So we'll go ahead and make a stick, or 8, and then we'll go ahead and make ourselves a fishing rod. And all we need now are the 3 mana ingots, which are very simply, much like the mana pearl, the mana diamond, and the mana petals, are made using iron just thrown into a mana pool. So I will take 3 of those. I don't think we're going to quite have enough mana in this. Actually, we have no mana. Wow. I was going to say, I don't think we're quite going to have enough mana in there to get one yet, and that is because none of these are linked. So let's quickly change that. Okay, so a really long time later, we're back, and we finally have a little bit of mana. Basically, what I've done is I went away, I made a bunch more flowers, made a bunch more floral fertilizer, made some more day blooms, some more nightshade, and then kind of just sat here and waited for the mana pool to fill up with at least a little bit of mana. And whilst I was waiting for the mana pool to fill up, I went ahead and got some of the ingredients that we're going to need to make the Munchdew, including these mushrooms and this nether wart, both of which I got from the nether. And although this doesn't look like a lot of mana, it should be at least enough to get us these 3 iron ingots and turn them into mana steel, and hopefully will be enough to initiate our first runic altar ritual, I guess, which is going to be this one over here, the rune of the fire. So to make this, we need 3 mana steel ingots, 1 nether wart, 1 gunpowder, and 1 nether brick. So I did start another brick smelting in here. We'll take that. I believe we should almost definitely have some gunpowder lying around somewhere. Yes, we do got 26 cool stuff. We will take that. And then finally, we need nothing else. That looks good. Okay, so let's take that. And basically, all we have to do is just right-click these on here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Nice. Okay, so that's that. Now what we need to do is give this thing some mana. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down my second mana spreader and point this, change it to binding mode, over to here. That should start sending the mana over there. And then once this starts to glisten, I believe what we do is we throw a living rock at it and then right-click, and we should get ourselves the Rune of the Fire. At least I think that's how that works. Now, that does look like an awful lot of mana there. If that's supposed to be the bar for this mana pool, then we have nowhere near enough mana. If not, we might be able to get somewhere. So, let's see if that works. Oh, it says, oh no. Okay, so we have to right-click to activate it. Now you'll see the little, like, clock face there is going through and just taking all of the mana from our mana pool. Hopefully we have enough to make this happen. And I'm realizing very quickly that I'm going to have to make either a ton more day blooms or some more better mana generating flowers if I want to get anywhere near enough mana to make a decent a number of these runes, which we are going to need to make the Munchdew. But hopefully this should be enough. It looks like it's going to be, but we're definitely going to have to do a little bit of waiting before we can get some more of those. And then once this is done, like so, I believe we throw the living rock at it. Or maybe right-click with Living Rock? I think we're supposed to throw it at it and then right-click. Yeah, with the one in the forest. Nice. That gets us 3 runes of fire. So, what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go away again. I'm going to try my best to make all of the other runes, that being the Rune of Winter, which requires the Rune of Water and the Rune of Earth. This one should be fairly easy. Again, it's 3 more mana steal with all the stuff we got earlier. 1, 2, 3. I don't know if we have enough mana even left to make the rest of these. Let's have a look. We'll go 1, 2. Yeah, we're out. Okay, so, you know what? Actually, instead, what we will do is we will detour a little bit from my plan. My plan was to get the Munchdew made today, but it looks like we might not have enough mana to do that. And basically, what I'd have to do in order to get that done this episode is just sit back and wait like hours until our day blooms finally make enough mana to let us do it. So instead, what we'll do is we will start by making ourselves the Lexica Botania, because the Lexica Botania is basically it's like the Thaumonomicon, but for Botania. It tells you everything you need to know about Botania, and then what we can do from there is we can take a look at all of the mana-producing flowers and see if we can make some better ones and get some mana quicker, which will then allow us to get to the Munchdew quicker and start getting some use out of our leaves. So to make this, we quite simply need a book and any kind of sapling, and for anyone who's watched any number of these episodes, we've made quite a few books by now. You will know that it is just some string, some blank patterns, and that's about it, maybe? Let me have a look. We'll take all this. I love how fast these grow. We seem to, every time we come back, they seem to be there. I will take those. That gets us a bunch of string. And then all we need to do is we need 3 paper, which we can quite easily get from all of our sugarcane, which we really need to expand, by the way. We need to get a better sugarcane production up and running. Maybe some kind of sugarcane farm would work pretty nicely. But for now, let's take you. Let's do this. Let's put the string down. And let's get ourselves a blank pattern or 4. Like so. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. All right, we can throw that in there. That gets to the book, which, if we combine up with one of our 4 quadrillion oak saplings, which are hidden. Nope. Nope. Not at all what I wanted to do. Boom. We get ourselves the Lexica Botania. Nice. So if we go ahead and open this guy up, we can see that this book has a bunch of different chapters. The one that we're interested in right now is the Generating Flora tab. And basically this tells us all of the flowers that will allow us to generate mana. We have the Day Bloom, further down here we have the Nightshade, and then in between we have things like the Endo Flame, which we might end up actually using. It says, while the Day Bloom is all well and good, a botanist requires more effective means of generating mana. The Endo Flame does that exactly. It will absorb any combustible items or blocks dropped on the nearby vicinity, albeit only one at a time, and burn them passively to generate mana while the fuel lasts. So basically, it's like a normal generator, but for mana. Like we kind of have going around our island, we have the Sterling generators, we have the iron generators from Progressive Automation. It's basically that, but for mana. So to make this, I believe it tells us the recipe in here, we need 1 red petal, 1 brown petal, 1 light grey petal, and then a brown mana petal and a red mana petal, all of which I think we should be fairly able to do, maybe? Let's have a look here. So brown and red are going to be the mana petals. We already have 1 red mana petal, so all we need really is a brown one, like so, and then we'll take the red one, and if we run over to our good old friend, the Petal Apothecary, also, I have a bunch more seeds now, and wheat, yeah, because I went over back to our village friends over there, and just kind of took some from them. They should be fine. Okay, so let's have a look here. We need to go light grey, brown, red. So, brown, mystical red, mana brown, light grey, which is you. And then is that it? No, we need 1 more red. And seed. Boom! That gets us an Endo Flame. So if we put this down, say, here, and then start throwing, say, some oak at it, that should go ahead and eat that up. There we go. And then that should start to produce a decent amount of mana, which we can then, I think, hopefully link to this guy over here. That might be a bit far away for that to work. It's not. That seems to be working fine. And hopefully that will get us a bit more mana. So, what I'm going to do, guys, again, I'm going to go away. I'm going to try and make as many of these Endo Flames as I can. Hopefully these will produce enough mana to let us move forward. And I'll be back in a second. So, it turns out that the Endo Flames are so much better than the Dayblooms and the Nightshades at generating mana, and I've managed to successfully go ahead and make both my Runes of Water and Runes of Earth without any issues. The Endo Flames just kept working. It has cost me quite a bit of coal. The reason why I'm using coal instead of oak wood planks, because we do have a ton of oak wood planks, and that would kind of make sense, is because the coal has a longer burn time, and currently I have to drop them all manually, so for now, the fact that coal lasts longer means that I don't have to come back and drop it as often. So I'm going to be using coal for now. In the future, we might automate this by dropping oak on there every so often. But for now, this works. And one of the final runes that we need to make in order to get our Munchdew now is this guy over here, the Rune of Winter, which is made using 1 of our Runes of Water, 1 of our Runes of Earth, a cake, 2 snow, and a wool. So the snow is actually fairly easy. We just use 2 of our air essence from magical crops and 2 of our water essence. That gets us 32 snowballs. We can then craft those up into blocks of snowball. For some reason, magical crops gives you, when you craft it, it gives you half a stack, so 32 snowballs, but snowballs actually only stack in 16, so when you try and use them, they will come down into a normal 16 size stack, so just an odd little bit of information there. But we can go ahead and throw these down on here and kind of leave them there for a little while whilst we get the rest of the components, which include, actually, we can put our Rune of Earth and Rune of Water on there. One of the things I do like about this is you get multiple of each rune, which means we can probably make quite a, well, I say quite a few. We could probably make like 2 or 3 of these Munchdews at once, which is pretty cool. But finally, we need this cake. So I have gone ahead and made 3 buckets. I'm going to say I was pretty sure we had some cows lying around somewhere. Wheat we've got from the fields. Sugar we can make from sugarcane. Let's take 2 of those. And I've seen quite a few chickens around, so we should probably have an egg, at least 1 egg in our AE system. Let's have a look here. It's not an AE system. I keep calling it an AE system. We do. We have 2 eggs there. I will assume that they are in this chest. If anywhere they are, I will take that. People keep pointing out that I call it an AE system. We'll get an AE system at some point, guys. Don't worry. It is on my list of things to do. Now, it's been a while since I made a cake. That is not right at all. Is it this? It is. Okay, cool. That gets the cake. We got an achievement called The Lie. Bit of a Portal reference there. We'll throw that down on there. And I think that's it, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. So that's going to go ahead and work quite nicely. Let's throw a little bit more coal down here. I probably used, like, I don't know if that last one was going to reach. No, I didn't. Actually, no, it did. It did. That thing's got quite the range on it. I've used about 40 coal since I started this, so it's not been a cheap endeavor, but time-wise, it has saved us so much time. You can see how fast that one completed compared to the first one. Boom! That gets us the Rune of Winter, and now all we need to do is combine the Rune of Winter with the Rune of Fire, like so, along with 2 mana diamonds? Yeah, 2 mana diamonds. So we'll throw you in there. Boom. Oh, it said no, but we got it anyway, so I'm going to accept that. We'll put both of you on there like that. And again, boom. Hopefully that won't take too long. This thing is constantly full of mana, the mana spreader that is, and it's kind of just constantly sending mana over, which is pretty cool. So that shouldn't take all that long, just for safety's sake. We will throw the wrench at the endo flames, you know, just to make sure they're still working. No, we'll throw some coal like that. That should be enough, I think, to get it through to the end here. Let me quickly go grab some more, just in case we don't have quite enough to make the actual Munchdew itself. But I think we might be good. I think we might be good. All right, how are you doing? You are done. So, living rock, give it a right click, that gets us those guys, and then, finally, the last piece of the puzzle, we need all of the other stuff. So, let's get our Rune of Gluttony. We did get 2 of them, so we can make 2 Munchdews if we'd like. We need lime, green, red, and white. Okay, where's my pouch at? It's here. Let's organize our inventory a little bit. Lime, green, red we are out of, but I believe I put the petals in here. I did. We already have that 1 lime one, so we don't need another mana lime, but we do need a mana red, so we'll throw you in there. We will... Oh, it went straight back into the pouch, so that's where it's gone. Take you. Okay, so mana red. Was there a normal red? Yes, mana red, normal red. Okay. Lime, mana lime, normal green, and then white and mana white. We've got 1 mana white, and then I need a normal white. We don't have any normal whites on us. We should have some mystical white flowers. We'll take that. We'll throw you there. And then, here we go, moment of truth. Boom. No? No, what did I do wrong? Oh, what did I do wrong? Why? None. Oh, it's a petal apothecary. What am I doing? I am in the completely the wrong place. Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. We will get... I've got so used to using this flipping thing. Let's get ourselves a bucket of water. Boom. And then it was white. There we go. Lime. I believe we can just get these back again by shift right clicking. We can. But I don't know what that is. You can seem to put these petals down on the ground. Red's definitely one. Mana red is definitely one. I'm just going to quickly make another one because we've got a fair bit of excess mana. We'll drop you in there. Now all we need... We've got green. We need the lime green, which is not either of you, although we do need the mana white. You can go in there. You can go in there. And then Rune of Gluttony? And a seed? Hey, finally, there we go. We got ourselves a Munchdew. Nice. So, let me go ahead and get rid of some of this junk for now. I'll put all that in there. And we just got way too much stuff that we don't need now. Jeez. But I'll put all that away. And basically, what this is a botania flower, like the rest of these, that runs on leaves. So, if, for example, I was to pick up this guy right here, because we don't really need him just yet, although I might go ahead and make another one of these Munchdews between episodes. But if I go ahead and throw this guy down, let's say here, so he's pointing at the mana pool, and we put a Munchdew down right there, and then go and grab ourselves some of these oak leaves, of which we have 11,500, I might add. So we shouldn't be in any dire situation where we run out of these anytime soon. But if you put these down, you'll see that the Munchdew here absorbs them, produces mana, and then sends them over. And this thing produces a ton of mana, like a lot more mana than the Endo Flames and the Dayblooms do. In fact, if we go to the Lexica Botania, we should be able to take a look at this. Munchdew. Generating the form of natural energy that is mana should be a pretty good process when done via other living materials. By using Munchdew, any leaves near the flower will get munched up and converted into mana. It's noted that though no saplings or other items will be dropped by the leaves. So when you break the leaves, you won't get saplings from them. But this is a pretty good way of getting mana, especially considering that we have a ton of excess leaves that we're not going to use. So what I'm going to do, guys, now between this episode and next is I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make at least 1 more of these. I might make 2 or 3 more of these to try and get us quite a few. And the next episode will come back. I want to automate the process of putting the leaves down around the Munchdew. And then I've got a pretty cool idea for what we can do with the mana that is being generated by all of our leaves. But that is for next episode. For now, guys, thanks for watching. If you did enjoy the video, episode, that like, it really does help out a lot. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys next time.